Learn how to use arrow functions to create self-invoking functions. Here we use an arrow function instead of the normal function keyword. We wrap it and immediately call it with parentheses, so it runs immediately and instantly to give us this output. So let's see how this can be done together. Modern JavaScript often uses arrow functions for cleaner and shorter code, even for patterns like IIFEs. So let's look at how we can use arrow functions to construct an IIFE. So here's my boilerplate code and inside the script tag. So inside this script tag, what we are just going to do is we are going to create an arrow functions. We will wrap it in parentheses. Then we'll invoke the functions to execute it. Then we'll store text inside the function and then display the text in HTML. So let's go ahead. So the arrow function, the parenthesis is the first thing. Then inside it, we'll put the arrow function like this. And then let's text a variable equals to hello record myself. So here's my string. So this is the variable. Now I want to output this document.get element by ID. Table HTML equals to text. Now I can just come at the back and invoke this function. Now, if you look at the right hand side, you can see the output. Hello, I called myself. Now, traditionally, arrow function used to steps like this. Let's say const sum equals to, we usually do it like this, and then whatever it is that you want to put inside. But if you look at what we have here is what we just simply accomplish for IIFE2. So because self-invoked function doesn't use name, so we don't need name like this. So we just put this, we just pick this open and close bracket, then the arrow, and then the curly braces. So this is how you can also use arrow functions to construct IIFE. So this example creates an arrow functions that run immediately and display a message on the page. So we first define the arrow function, then we wrapped it in a parenthesis to form an expression. Remember that IIFE stands for immediately invoked function expression. So we use this to form an expression, and then we now finally run it with this opening and closing bracket at the end of it, and then the function executes once and text is displayed on the page. So even for IIFEs, arrow functions can be used. And what we have here that I just gave an example of the normal way of using arrow functions is what defines the functions. Then this wrapping of opening and close bracket enable execution, and this opening and closing bracket at the end triggers it. So arrow IIFEs behave the same way as regular IIFEs, just with shorter syntax. So the difference between this function and what we have is just that shorter syntax. So we no longer need the function keyword. So with this and this arrow, we can just simply go ahead and make whatever it is that we want to make. So key takeaways from this lesson: IIFE is not limited to function keyword. You can also use arrow function for it as well. Arrow functions can self-invoke, as you can see in this example. It's useful for quick one-time executions, and it keeps variable scopes inside.